Hey guys, I'm Megan Barker. Welcome to Jammin and Jammies, the podcast. We are sitting down with some of our favorite songwriters, music creators, industry leaders. We're going to find out how they got where they are and get some valuable insights into the music world. You can watch the interviews online or stream the podcast. Just go to jamminandjammies.com for all your jammy needs. Today, we are sitting down with such a special girl and a special songwriter, Miss Lydia Dall. Lydia has become one of the most popular songwriters in Nashville, y'all. She has don't interrupt me. She has over 70 cuts, guys. 70 different artists have recorded her songs already, and she is still a completely independent songwriter. An icon. Let's jump in and talk to her about how the heck she did it. Lydia, welcome.
Hello. Oh my God. I need you to follow me around. First of all, your voice was made for many things, and one of them is podcasting, because it is just have a podcast voice.
Really?
Just number one. Yes, 100%.
Really?
Full confession.
Really?
Yeah, I went and listened and watched a few of the other episodes, the one that you sent me, which was, I think it was John Shambi. Is that his name?
John.
Yeah. Oh my God, great episode. But I was like, wow, Megan's voice was like made for this. So
Stop. No.
just from me to you.
Oh.
From me to you.
I'm just gonna talk like really slow into the mic now.
I think you should.
That was really weird. Anyway, thank you. Thanks for doing your studying, and thanks for coming on and talking. We've actually been talking about doing this for a long time. Me and Lydia have known each other for many, many moons, and many moons. And I think you are the most successful independent songwriter that I know. And we have to just dive in, but let's start at the beginning. How did Lydia? We're going to talk about you in third person. How did Lydia?
That would be less stressful for me, honestly. First of all, thank you for having me on. I am so pumped to be here. When you texted me, I was like, this made my entire day and life, because just hanging out with you, amazing. Yeah, how did I get here? You know, I knew you were gonna ask me this, and I still don't have an answer. I mean, I've been doing music and dancing and all of the stuff since I was a kid. I was like in dance growing up, and I started taking piano lessons when I was in third grade, and then in fifth grade I started taking vocal lessons, and then I started doing theater, and I thought I was going to be this big theater person and like go to New York and be on Broadway. And then Taylor Swift came out. And, you know, I used to be like low key, Taylor Swift would kick me out of the club if she knew this, low key embarrassed to like say like Taylor Swift is the reason I'm a songwriter, but Taylor Swift / Liz Rose. Yeah. They are the reason that I'm a songwriter. I was at Walmart with one of my best friends. And I had like $10, and I don't know how, because I wasn't like an allowance kid, but I did. And we were like sitting in the CD section, and I was like, oh, I like Taylor Swift. I've kind of heard this person and their name. Let's just buy the record, because like, why not? And go sit in your mom's car. And like, we went and we listened, and like nothing has been the same since. And I flipped through the little booklet, and I realized that she like wrote her own songs, and it just like this light bulb went off in my head, and I started writing. Yeah, I started writing shortly after that. That was probably, I don't know, 7th or 8th grade. I don't think I really like got into it until high school.
Was that her first record?
It was her first record. Wow. Yeah. We got to go see her open for Rascal Flatts on that tour. Gosh. And one of my best friends still to this day, her mom, God love her. She is one of those people that could like talk her way into anywhere. And we had 13 girls, and we had spelt out Taylor Swift on our backs.
Oh my gosh.
And she got us in backstage to meet Taylor Swift. And I cried like ugly tears. It was, yeah, it was, anyway. So that was a little bit of a detour, but started writing songs. I went to a really great, like, I guess they refer to it as a college prep high school. It sounds fancy, but I promise it is not. In middle of nowhere. I grew up in Southern Illinois, middle of nowhere. And part of that school was like junior year, they sit you down and they're like, okay, what do you want to do with your life? Let's look at some colleges that would maybe help you do that better. And it was very like widely known at my school that I was like a singer, that I was in every musical production. I was in the jazz band. I was in the choir, anything that had anything to do with music. I was a part of it. And the advisor kind of already knew that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be like, I don't need to go to college. I'm going to be a songwriter. I'm going to be an artist. Like, I'm going to be famous. And he was like, well, there's some schools you could actually go to that teach songwriting. And one of them was Belmont and one of them was Berkeley. And I was like, cool, Belmont, that's in Nashville. That's only 4 hours away. At the time, I had a boyfriend at home. And I was like, yeah, that's great. Let's do that. And so yeah, I applied to Belmont. It's the only school I applied to. It's the only school I looked at. I got in, and that's how I ended up in Nashville. I'm trying to think of where to go from here. My God.
Well, no, I mean, that's a great launching off point. Okay, so it was music from the get-go.
Music from the get-go.
P.S. I saw Taylor Swift on the Fearless tour, and it's still burned in my mind as like one of the greatest nights of my life. It was just amazing.
I'm so jealous.
Oh my gosh, magical time. Oh,
this podcast could so quickly turn into just us talking about how much we love Taylor Swift.
Plot twist, guys. This is actually a Taylor Swift.
This is the Taylor Swift episode. So strap in.
Oh, okay. Wait, I don't know where to go from here either. Hold on a second. I'm so excited.
We're both overwhelmed.
Okay, so you went to Belmont all 4 years, graduated.
All 4 years.
What was that process like? And then what did you do after that?
So yeah, I actually went 3.5 years. I graduated a little early because the high school I went to really did set me up for success. Honestly, coming to Belmont, so I think I said it, but I grew up in a really, really small town, like not a stoplight, small town. Still doesn't have a stoplight, small town. So I grew up being, one of the better music people in my area. And I moved to a city that is known for music and a school that is known for music. And my confidence level I just was floored. I just got knocked on my ass. Coming in and seeing all these kids who'd been doing music their entire lives on just higher levels, being, like parents who had music backgrounds, or they were in cities where they just had more resources than I did.
Right.
And I met one girl who changed my whole entire life, and you definitely know her. Her name is Hollyana. And I met her in a songwriting class. It was the only songwriting class that was offered to non-songwriting majors. We met in that songwriting class and became best friends. And then she just opened all the doors of Nashville for me.
Really?
She had been coming here for, yes. Holly's one of my best friends. I know that you say the same, but every opportunity she could give me to play a show, she gave me. And every time, let's fast forward a little bit. We were great friends. We both graduated early from Belmont. She went to New York. I stayed here. We kind of had like our lost years, like doing other things. I was here, like kind of co-writing, but like once or twice a month. And she moved to New York. And then in the same week, I got fired from the job that I was working, and Holly moved back from New York.
Whoa.
And I picked her from the airport same week. It was incredible timing. Holly moved back. I picked her up from the airport. We were sitting at the Panera that I actually live down the road from now. And we're like, what are we doing? We moved here to pursue music, and we haven't been doing that. Like, this is what we want. This is what all we've ever been talking about. This is why we're friends. And like literally from that day, we just decided, okay, we're doing it. We're just going to go full steam ahead. And Holly had a huge network of people here, way, way bigger than mine. And she's kind enough to share her network with me. And she introduced me to this man at this publishing company. It was like super small. It was called Bandwagon Red. And it was a really special place because you didn't have to be signed there to go and use their rooms, which is really uncommon for Nashville publishing. And they just wanted to build like a community of songwriters. And some of the people I still write with today, I met at Bandwagon Red through that whole process. And yeah, so we started writing there pretty much every day, as often as they would let us be there. We're doing it. We're going full steam. And they heard one of the songs I had written, and they offered me a 1-song deal. And I think that was like the first time that like I was like, oh shit, okay, cool, maybe I'm good at this. Like, maybe this is actually a possibility. And it was kind of that way for like my parents too, even being like, oh, okay. And things just kind of snowballed from there. I guess by the end of that summer, I like kind of I didn't go look for another job. I just was kind of doing whatever I could, playing shows or whatever to make money. And at the beginning of that summer, I met Tennille Arts.
Mhm.
And by the end of that summer, I had a cut on her first record, full length record called Rebel Child. And our song was called There's This Boy that we wrote with Holly. And that was
Love
my
that song.
first. Same, thank you. It's so like just like girly and fun. But yeah, that was my first cut as a songwriter.
Yeah.
And everything just kind of went on from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. There's so much to unpack here. I mean, you and Neil obviously have both done so many things in the last few years. I don't even know where to start. Okay, well, let's start with like, what do you think? Because I would love to like talk about your story and get your insight for anyone who's like just getting to Nashville, basically, or thinking about
Yeah.
coming to Nashville. Like, what is the first thing you do when you get to Nashville and you want to find people to write with? What is the first thing you did?
Oh my gosh. I feel like my like actual Nashville story doesn't start until after Belmont. So like Belmont, if you go to Belmont, if you have the funds, if that's part of your story, go to Belmont, network. That was one thing I did not do there. Holly was the only networking I
Yeah.
did.
So
And
if you
she really helped me. Like, don't get me wrong, that girl changed my life. But
so if you don't network, find and befriend someone who does.
befriend, yes, the one
At
person
least.
who does,
Yeah.
yes, go hang out with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, Belmont, I mean, they have so many tools there, and so many, even like people I meet now like out networking, one of the big connections is like, oh, you went to Belmont, I went to Belmont too, and there's just like that immediate thing. But
Yeah.
I would say like 2017 is when I really started writing full time, is that conversation we talked about with Holly,
Yeah.
and go to writers rounds. Just
Yeah.
go to every writers round literally that you can find people that you heard their song on stage and you were like, wow, I have to talk to them. Just go introduce yourself. It's scary and it's hard, but everybody loves a compliment. Like, I don't know anybody who hates being complimented. So walk up to that person. Hi, my name is whatever your name is. I really loved this song. Pick a line from that song or like the melody, whatever, this specifically about it. I would love to get coffee with you. Start with coffee. I start with coffee. Some people are a little more direct and they'll just go in for the co-write. I start with coffee because you only get so much in that first like 5 minute interaction. Go sit down with them for like a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and see if you vibe and then
Yeah.
book the right with them.
Yeah.
That would be my advice.
That's perfect advice. And that's a really good segue for bad co-writes. Like, how
Hmm.
many bad co-writes have you had? And do you think there's merit to like maybe having a bad first co-write, but then things get better from there?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Listen, co-writing is like dating. If you are single and you're on dating apps, you know what it is to walk into a room with someone you have never met and have maybe no real connection with, and
Right.
you are trying to create one. It's the same thing in a writer's room. You're walking into a room. Now, sometimes you know people and you're friends with them, and that's great. Sometimes you're going in blind. Either way, like you're sitting in a room with people you don't know, and now you're gonna try and blend all of your creativity together. Like,
Yeah,
that's hard stuff.
it
Okay.
is.
Um, but yeah, bad co-writes. I've definitely had those.
Ugh.
Sometimes, and they go either one of two ways, like you were talking about. Sometimes you just you're not on that day. Someone in the room's not on that day. You can't find an idea that you really like. You can't find a direction. Sometimes it's just not there. Like, the thing that we all have to remember about like being creative for a living is that it's still creativity. It's not, you're not going in and putting some numbers in a spreadsheet or something that is for sure. This is stuff we're literally pulling out of thin air. Some days it's just, it ain't gonna be there,
Yeah.
and that's okay. That's no one's fault. Go get a drink, go get a coffee, hang out, get to know them better, book another session. It's okay.
I really
If the second one sucks, don't book another session with them. But if that's how the first one goes, just it's okay.
I really like to think that there's no time wasted, or at least I try to tell
Absolutely not.
myself that, because even if it wasn't productive, in that you got a song, just spending time with someone, you just don't know where that's going to
Yeah.
lead. Yeah, you know?
Absolutely. Well, because half of this, I mean, I would even say more than half of this. I would say a good 80% of a music career is your connections. It's networking.
Absolutely.
If you're not going to write a song, even if you are writing a song, that person in that room with you is a connection. And you absolutely never know what they are going to do or where they are going to go. So, like,
Exactly.
just building that connection. And maybe you didn't write really well with that person, but maybe they have, a best friend that you see out and you meet the best friend, and that best friend becomes someone that is your new favorite co-writer. You just
Right.
absolutely never know. So, just hang out, make connections with people.
Yeah.
And then the other way is like, yeah, you get into a room that you're like, this is awful and it really doesn't work. And pretty quickly. It's like a first date. Like, when you do not vibe with someone. Like,
Yeah.
when that happens, you know what? That's okay. Now, just, hang out, do the best you can, and then just don't rebook with them.
Yeah, and I mean, I never want to be preachy, but I do feel like it's really important to just maybe make a disclaimer too that if you are young and watching this or whatever, the beginning stages of writing, and maybe it doesn't work out with somebody, maybe you just have a couple horrible co-writes, you guys don't want to write together anymore.
Yeah.
Don't make it awkward. I
Don't make it weird.
don't make it
Don't
weird.
make it weird for
It's
everybody.
That's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you. It's happened to everybody, but like, of course, give things a second chance. But I
For
just hate
sure.
when people get so, you know, so upset about it that it's just
Yeah.
weird and awkward. Don't do that. So just be
Don't
cool.
don't do that. Just be cool.
Just be cool. Just be
Be
cool.
cool. And I get it.
That's
Listen,
the name of
we're
your memoir one day. Be cool. Okay, sorry.
just be cool.
Be
Okay.
cool.
That's me as a person, is
It
just trying
totally
to be
is.
cool always. Like, I get it. We're all emotionally so emotional. We wouldn't be
Right.
here if we weren't emotionally invested in this career. But again, like, you don't want to write with some, again, I'm gonna go back to dating. You don't want to date someone that doesn't want to date you. You don't want to write with someone that doesn't want to write with you. And
Amen.
there's no hard feelings for it. Sometimes you just don't jive. Take Now, telling someone you don't want to write with them again is that's a little
A
harder.
little messier.
It's a
Yeah.
little messier. Again, it's like kind of telling someone you don't want to date with them again. But yeah, just be cool about it, move forward, because again, you might not know, like, in the future, maybe an opportunity comes up where you write with them again and it's amazing. Like, years down the
Right.
road, there have been people where, like, the first time I wrote with them, maybe we didn't click, wrote with them a couple years later and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Well, let's talk about writing material. So, when you come to a co-write, what do you bring? I think I've heard a lot of great songwriters say that like you were kind of whatever needs to be in the room that day. Do you agree with that? And like
For
maybe
sure.
you're the lyric person, maybe you're the melody. Like what do you think of that?
Absolutely. I think like, if I had to, like, if someone was like, what's your thing? Like, what do you think you do the best? I think I do lyrics the best. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the thing I care about the most in a song. They always have been. I'm a big words person. Um, but I'll be whatever you need me to be in that room. If that means that I'm the one who's gonna be playing the guitar and making up the instrumentation, like, yeah, I'll do that. If that means I am the person, literally just scribe, I'm just gonna write down everything you guys are
Yeah.
saying. For sure. I'll do that too. The thing about co-writing is figuring out where you fit in that room and doing the best you can in that position that day. And it's going to be different with everybody you write with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I do pretty well. I don't know who you're talking to, but I think I do pretty well of being kind of like a chameleon and adapting to, the different settings that I'm in.
I think that's so important. And do you know what's funny? I know a lot of people that you write with and have played rounds with them. And when they play a Lydia song, they might not have even said it. And I can tell. Like,
Shut up. No, you can't.
swear to God, ask David Evans. I've even called him out on it.
Oh,
When I know you guys write a lot together, so I guess it's not
yeah.
that like far of a guess. But
Yeah.
seriously, like I could like tell a line almost. I'd be like, that's a great line. That's a Lydia line. And then I think you are way strong at melodies. I mean,
Thank
truly,
you.
because I picked out Lydia melodies as well. Anyway, so
Thank you. Another
I'm
person that has a very distinct melody and lyric is David Evans. I always know when
yeah,
it's a David Evans melody. And again, it's because I write with him so much. Like, that's part of, being in this town, is like, you get to know what people sound like.
you find your tribe. It's so
Yeah.
interesting because I remember, I mean, and part of like full disclosure, guys, part of the reason that I started Jammies was to like, I'm sure it's no secret,
Oh,
like
oh,
rub
you paused.
elbows. What happened?
No, now you're there. You're back. You paused for a
Oh
second.
God. Come on, internet. I was just gonna say that when you first get here, you want to rub elbows with bigger writers and write
Mm-hmm.
bigger. And then you start to find that's great. That's a great
That's great.
experience, but you want to just find your tribe and rise
Yeah.
with them. And
Yeah.
so I feel like you found a large tribe, and a lot of your
Thank
tribe
you.
is going viral. So I would love to talk about social media and virality and this crazy TikTok thing that's been happening the last couple of years. Like wherever you want to start on that, go because it's overwhelming.
First of all, I mean, the thing about like TikTok and stuff is like I'm a songwriter. I'm on TikTok because I genuinely enjoy social media.
Yeah,
always have. That's another thing Holly really helped me understand. Like, my God, that girl knows social media
ridiculous.
and she knows how to master it. And she helped me really understand and see like all the bright spots of social media. So I'm on it because I love it. Or, and I don't have to be on it like a lot of my artist friends do, who I know like despise it most of the time.
A lot of artists do. It's
A lot
true.
of artists do. And I listen, I get it. None of us got into music because we want to make content. We got
Right.
into music because we want to make music. However, if you want to make money making music,
Yeah.
people have to know who you are.
Do you want to play the game or not?
Do you want to, you
Right.
got to play the game. Like it sucks, but it's true. And I think it's I know everybody's complaining about it, but to be honest, I think it's the same thing that Instagram was. And the same thing that Facebook was before that. The same thing that MySpace was before that. It doesn't matter. Having to be on social media and maybe I can say this because I don't have to do it like a lot of my artist friends do, but like having to be on social media is not a new concept. This is
Right.
old. Like, yes, the demand for it and the turnover for it is way more than it has been in the past. But like putting your stuff on social media and having that presence is not a new idea. This is
Right.
something we've been doing for years. And there are two sides of the coin. Like obviously it's really overwhelming and it's frustrating and it opens you up to a lot of criticism. And I know that that's hard just watching a lot of people go through that. But the other side of it is like it opens you up to so many people who you would
Yeah,
never, ever, ever, ever have had access to before.
it's
So,
true.
like, I think you just kind of figure out what, lens to look at it with. I mean, I know, for instance, like me as a songwriter and even like let's just looking at it like monetarily.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, for me, it's a game changer if a song goes viral and then streams well. Like, Haley Mae Campbell put out a song called Never Been in Love, I think in 2019, maybe. And that song went viral on TikTok. And then it did a bunch of cool things because of that. And I think it is still how I make most of my money as a songwriter when I get, my check from BMI. Like it's Never Been in Love and it's still streaming. It has, I think, definitely over 8 million streams on
Yeah.
Spotify now. Because of TikTok. And I never would have had that happen for me as a completely independent songwriter had she not been posting about it. So like I'm thankful for this. I think it's a great way to get music out there. I've
Yeah.
even seen songwriters post, like non-artist songwriters posting like, "Hey, I wrote this song. Who do you think should cut it?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
getting people's attention that way. Like I think it's really great. I think you just got to, frame it in a way that maybe doesn't kill your mental health.
Just- That's the ticket right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you remember how that song came about?
Never been in love.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my first co-write with Haley Mae.
Oh, that's
It
amazing.
was yeah, it was me and Haley Mae and Ian McConnell. So Ian McConnell and he's another one that's I mean done great on
Oh my
TikTok,
gosh,
blowing
blown
up.
up.
He kills it.
Yeah.
But he and I met at Bandwagon Red, bringing it full circle. He and I met at Bandwagon Red at like a guitar pull, like everybody hang out, play a song, and then network kind of thing. And we quickly became like best friends and also like best co-writers. Like we would
Mm.
write, I think every Friday, me and him and Holly had a date. Like we wrote every week. And so I became, we became trusted co-writers. I'd pull him on stuff and he would do the same for me. And that's what happened. I think Haley reached out to him via Instagram and was like, "Hey, I really love your stuff. I'd love to write with you." And he was like, "Absolutely. I know a girl. Let me bring her in." And we wrote that song in Ian's bedroom. I
Wow.
think it was a hook that I had. Haley wanted, of something I like to do when I go into writes with artists. And I think it's what's helped me get as many cuts as I've had is ask, what are you looking for? What do you need? what, what do you need in your set? Like if you're out playing shows all the time, like what kind of song do you need to fill your set? Are you recording an album? Are you recording an EP? What kind of songs do you not have that you are in need of? And hers was a up tempo love song. So we
So there
wrote
you
and
go.
like we obviously we pulled inspiration from her real life, with her now fiance, Zach, like someone that she liked and like someone that gave her the never been in love feelings. Like we pulled real stuff from it, but it comes from like okay, well, what do you need? And then let's navigate from there. So that's kind of how that one came about.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's a great story. I wonder if she like I don't know. Never mind. I just think it's magical. And I think it's really cool too. Like you were talking about, like it's just so important to network when you get here. And then you
Yeah,
became really good friends with Ian. And then look at how that, leads one thing to another, one thing to another. It's fascinating.
absolutely.
It's what
It's
it's what
sorry,
keeps
go
us
ahead.
getting up every day. It's like because you just don't know what's gonna
100%.
happen.
You never know
Yeah.
what's going to happen. And like that is the best part of our career. And it is the worst part of our career because you don't know. You could go into a write and write your favorite song ever. And you could go into a write and even if with people you love that you usually write really well with and write absolutely nothing. Like, or you have a song that you're like, this is the best song. This person's putting it out. It's going to go so big and it doesn't stream like you want it to. And then you have songs that you're like, oh, I'd be okay if that never saw the light of day. I mean, I don't have any of those. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, me neither. No.
Yeah, so I've never written a song. Whatever. Anyway, you have songs that you're like, and they go huge. Like I live with Morgan Johnston, who's an artist in town that I work with a lot. She's one of my best friends, and we love her. But another Ian situation, Ian met Morgan at I think Jammin and Jammies when it was like back at whatever the
Whoa.
Rusty Nail or whatever it was at that time.
It was started at South and then Frisky Frogs, which is now Live
South,
Oak.
which is now Live Oak.
Yeah.
God, we've been here for so long.
We're so old,
We're
guys.
so old. But yeah, I think he met her at a Jammin and Jammies round, and
Wow.
they were gonna write together. And he brought me in. We wrote a song called "Good Guy." That was Morgan's first single.
Oh.
And Morgan and I bonded instantly over having exes that cheated on us, which is a whole other thing. But we she told me that she was gonna put this song out, and I was like, a slow. And Morgan knows all of this. We openly share this story, but I was like, oh, like a slow, sad ballad as your first single ever. Okay, I mean, question mark, because at the time it just wasn't something you did, and then it ended up going over so well for her and setting her up so well in this town. And I was like, wow, I don't know anything. I know nothing. That's the other key to this. You don't know anything. Don't assume that you know anything here.
But nobody knows anything. I mean,
Nobody knows
honestly, like, I mean, I've had meetings at publishers and labels, and at this point, I don't think, and obviously I'm not an expert, but like, I don't think anybody knows. I really don't.
knows.
And they say what they're looking for. I don't think they know.
I don't think they know either.
And you know what's funny too? Just between us, between you, me, and everybody listening,
And everybody listening.
and everybody listening, just between us guys, I have seen people go from like no social media presence, no streams, no TikTok followers, whatever, get signed overnight. They do. So sometimes I just wonder when they ask you, does it matter?
Yeah.
Question mark. I don't know. I'm just posing the questions. I'm not saying anything. I'm just.
Does anything matter?
I don't. Where are we? What is this?
Where are we?
What
We
is
are
this?
literally on a floating rock. Like,
where
does
I was going.
anything matter?
Nothing
I
matters.
don't know.
Nothing matters. Guys, this just took a really weird turn, and it's my fault. I apologize.
I'm so sorry.
Let's talk about hearing your song on the Grand Ole Opry.
You want to get a girl to cry. That's how you do it.
I cried for you.
Thank you. I think the amount of people that have said that to me, I'm like, well, first of all, I'm sorry, because I'm one of those people that I don't like crying, and I don't openly like crying. Yeah. But I just, it's one of those. It was a weird like fluke thing that I even knew about it. So the song that was played was a song called "Woman of My Word," and it seems to be like this like continuous thing in my life where like "Good Guy" did like really well. That was the song with Morgan Johnston, and that's about like standing up to men and knowing your worth. And this song, "Woman of My Word," was an artist named Morgan Miles who just I think she got second on The Voice this year. And it just, these songs about like knowing your worth and standing up for yourself just seem to keep doing well. But anyway, it was beginning of January. I was just like taking stock. Something I like to do at the beginning of every year is go through my list of people that I wrote with in the last year, people, and kind of evaluate, who do I want to keep writing with? Who do I want to put a bigger focus on? Who do I maybe want to step back with a little bit? Who do I need to reconnect with? And Morgan was one of those people. She was someone I wanted to reconnect with. And so I texted her and I was like, hey girl, I saw everything you did on The Voice. It's amazing. She's so talented. She's such a hard worker. Like she deserves that recognition. And I was like, let's get coffee. I would love to hear about it. Like, I'd love to hear about your experience. And she texted back and she was like, oh my God, absolutely. By the way, I'm playing Woman of My Word at the Opry on Friday. And I was like, what? And like, for context, we wrote this song in 2019. She put it out in 2021. So this was 2023 where this is coming to fruition. Like, you never know. That in my head, when I thought like the song that I'm going to hear on the Opry for the first time, it wasn't that song. It wasn't that song. It wasn't even her as an artist. And it's not to say that she's not an amazingly talented person who I didn't think was going to be on that stage. I thought that song had lived its life.
Yeah.
And it turns out it didn't. But yeah, she sent me that text message. And the first thing I did was call my mom and dad.
Yes. Yeah.
And I called them and I heard my dad in the background. My dad's a farmer and he was in from like working just for lunch. They're sitting down eating lunch together. I heard him in the background. I was like, put me on speaker. My mom was like, what's up? And I was like, what are you guys doing on Friday? And my dad was like, I'm working. Why? Because that's my dad's response. He works every day. So like, it's, whatever. And I was like, well, you guys want to come to Nashville? And they were like, why? What's going on? And I was like, what am I talking about? And I just burst into tears because it was the first time I had said that out loud and that it was real. And for so long, I had thought about, like, when you go through this, I have been writing every day with people for 6 years, I think. Yeah, because 2017, right? I don't know. Yeah. We established earlier off camera that we don't know math, but I've been writing every day for 6 years. And this town, I love it, but it is so disheartening and frustrating sometimes. Like, it's just, it takes so much strength to stay here and keep going. And like, you see a little cattail just walk past me. Anyway, so I had thought about what that moment would feel like so many times, and it felt exactly like I thought. It was just like this wave of relief that was like, you're not crazy. You should be here. This is what you should be doing. Keep going. I'm gonna cry talking about it again. Like, it was just like, I just sobbed. My parents, I don't even think they knew what I was saying, but they came down. They dropped everything. They came down. My sister came down. My brother's girlfriend came down. All of Morgan, my roommate, and all of my other best friends dropped everything to come to the show and be there for me. And I have a poster of it framed now, and it's like right there, so that I can wake up and like remember that like the good things are happening, good things are coming. But it's amazing and it's surreal, and you're sitting there and I'm like crying listening to this song, and and then you wake up the next day and you do laundry like everybody else. So
you write another song.
You write another song. You wake up the next day and you write another song, and you keep going, and you're like, all right, cool.
Well, let's just talk for a second. I mean, and maybe you can't describe it, but like, where do you find that strength and that drive on days where it's difficult?
I mean, I love it. I will tell anybody, like, I hate this industry and I love music. Like, it is my heart and soul writing these songs. And, for myself, there's so many things that it's just therapy for myself, but there's also experiences that I've had now. I wrote a song with Spencer Crandall called Didn't Do, and it's on his last record. And I got to see him play at Exit a few months ago, and there's this girl there at the end of the show. Spencer's mom came up to me and she's like, hey, I would like to introduce you to someone, if that's okay. And I was like, sure. She walks me over to this fan of Spencer's who goes to all of Spencer's show. She's the nicest person, but she had made a shirt like from scratch that had the lyrics to Didn't Do on it. And it was like, it's moments like that. And Spencer's told me so many other moments where like there was someone on tour that he met that was like, didn't do is the ringtone. It's my alarm every morning. And it reminds me to keep going. It reminds me to live my, and I'm like, again, I'm going to get emotional talking about it, but it's stuff like that also keeps me going. Then I'm like, Nashville is such a bubble and it's so easy to get lost here and forget that you're not writing songs for Nashville. You are writing songs for the rest of the world. Like Nashville is just the industry and you are writing songs for Nashville because these people are people too, but like you're writing songs for the rest of the world to hear. Okay. So Nashville is wonderful and I love it. It's not the end all be all, you know? So that helps. And, there was a time when shortly before 2020, it was 2019, I was so burnt out. I had been writing, twice a day, pretty much every day for the last 2 years. And I like was burnt out and I was discouraged and I came back from my like little Christmas break and I did not want to be here anymore. I was like, I just don't, I'm drained. I'm overworked. I'm burnt out. I have no inspiration. I don't feel hopeful. And I mean, 2020 was the biggest blessing ever. I went home to my parents' house accidentally, basically. I wasn't even planning on it. I stayed for 3 months and just kind of got back to going back to the reason that I was doing this. And it was to write songs that mean something to people and that are going to help people. And it's not about how many streams they get. It's not about if they're number one on iTunes or number one on the radio. And that's easy for me to say because I've never had a number one on the radio, but it's just so not about that. It's about like the reason I wanted to be a songwriter is because I heard Taylor Swift and it felt like I was having a conversation with my best friend. She knew what I was going through. Those songs got me through so much. That's why I do it. So on days when it's harder, I remind myself, this is not the publishing deal. While it's something I want, is not why I'm doing it. Why I'm doing it is for that little girl sitting in her bedroom who's going through her first breakup, or the 30-something-year-old girl who's going through her seventh breakup and needs that someone who gets it, who just gets it. Because there's no feeling like hearing a song that feels like, oh my God, how did you get inside my brain? Yeah. That you're not alone, Anyway.
You're not alone. It's supposed to be like the theme, the entire purpose of music. And you're doing it so well. You're doing it so well. And you're sharing all this wisdom with, hopefully a few people along the way. So it's amazing. What is next? So you just heard your song on the Opry. You've got a single basically coming out every week because I feel like she just hit 50 cuts and posted about it. So when she hopped on today, guys, I was like, so it's over 50 now. And she's like, it's 70. So
I think it's almost been a year, I think, since I made my big post about 50, which was crazy because I didn't even want to celebrate it when it happened because, again, talking about bad times, not to bring that back around, but it didn't mean what I thought it was going to mean. Right. I was like, oh, different. The more cuts I got, I'll definitely get a publishing deal. I'll be undeniable. And that's not what happened. And that's okay. It's not, again, kind of had to recenter on why are you doing this? What is your goal? So what's next? Who knows? I don't know. Because again, that's the thing about this industry, especially for me, because I have so little control over what is next. Sometimes I don't even know when songs are coming out or when they're being played on the Opry until 2 days before.
Yeah, so I wonder what would have happened if you hadn't have texted her that day.
It was such a universe. That trend on TikTok, coming back to virality, that's I'm so lucky everything works out for me.
So lucky everything works
out. I'm so lucky everything works out for me. Morgan and I were just kind of flippantly saying it the night before, not really thinking about it, and literally the next day. That's what happened.
What's funny? That was like a month or two ago now that was going around. And I really do think like that. I am, of course I have my bad days, but I'm a super positive manifesting kind of person. And I jokingly said it to my boyfriend. We were joking about it the next morning. Something magical happened. And I was like, oh my God, there's something to this.
There's something to it. And I think there's even something to it. And just it just helps you reframe. Even when something's not working out the way you want it to,
right?
It's still working out for you.
Absolutely. And I wonder too, how much of your attitude that you have right now, which is yes, I want a publishing deal. I'm going to keep writing songs. when you were talking about being burnout in 2019, I was too. I got
Yeah.
here in February of 2017. I think it's just about my 6-year anniversary. Hey,
Hey,
like
what
I
up?
got,
What up?
yeah, I got here full time and I was feeling really burnout. So 2020 was a really like a blessing in a
Yeah.
way, of getting to step back. But I was telling someone the other day that like I think I smelled desperate. Like the end of 2019, I had some really big meetings and they went really well. But I swear to God, I think I smelled like I really wanted a deal. And
Yeah.
why did I need that so badly? So 2020 was such a blessing in a way to step back and be grateful, because I am so grateful every day to write a song and go see friends at shows and
Yeah.
do all the things. But I was just thinking when you were talking, like, is it just being here for 6 years that reframes your mind, or is it just getting older? Maybe it's a little of both.
Yeah, I think it's a little of both. I mean, I think when you come here, there are things you think are gonna mean something. Like again,
Yeah.
like getting a publishing deal. And now I've seen friends get the publishing deal and maybe it just didn't work out like they wanted to, and now they're independent again.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I've
Right.
seen people with record deals who get the record deal and it doesn't go like it wants they want it to. It they just aren't what you think they're gonna mean, is what kind of I realized with it. Now, what do I think it would be like validating? For sure,
Yeah.
because it's like, all right, someone else sees, very similar to the Opry, it's like someone else sees that I am talented, just other than just me. But yeah, I think, and again, I think it kind of also came in 2020 when I was like, it's just not in my control.
Yeah.
It's really not. All I can do is go out and meet people, find people I connect with well, make, genuine connections with these people and write the best songs that I can write. And that's it. Those are the only things that I can control as like just a bass songwriter. I'm not putting stuff out. I'm not signing things. I don't have money. I can't talk someone into liking me enough to be like, "Hey, we're going to put you on the payroll." Like you gotta let it go. You just have to surrender it to the universe. And it is hard because trust me, I do not feel that way every day. But like right now, I'm like, yeah, I can't control that. So I guess I'm gonna stop worrying about it because all that's gonna do is make you unhappy.
And cause premature frown lines. And we're not
And
here for that.
we're not here for that. We are
Yeah.
young. I don't need
Mhm.
more lines
Mm-mm.
than I already have.
You're amazing. I'm sure that there were like questions I wrote down that we didn't get to, but we'll just do a part two or something. I just feel like I could
For
talk
sure.
to you all day. And
Same.
thank you so much for all of your insight. Congratulations on 70 plus cuts.
Thank
You
you.
should take moments and celebrate because it's impressive. It's amazing. And
Thank you.
next time we get on here, you'll have many more songs being played on the Opry.
Let's, from your lips to God's ears, girl. Let's hope. Thank you so much for having me. Like this was so fun and it's so cute. And I think it's amazing that you are doing this. Even again, listening to the John Zombie one, I learned
Oh,
so many
thanks.
things that
I'm
I
so
wouldn't have known.
glad.
So thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. You're the best. We'll catch up again soon.
Perfect.